We have brought you many stories about identity theft and how it has affected the lives of millions of Americans. But here's a new wrinkle reported by our colleagues at MSNBC.com. Even if you try to head it off by monitoring your credit history, someone else could still be using your Social Security number without your knowledge. Here's NBC's George Lewis.
Margaret Harrison, a young wife and mother living in San Diego, first noticed the problem 4 years ago when she applied for unemployment.
They asked if I worked on a horse ranch in eastern Washington, and I said no. Not quite the rancher type.
She investigated and found out a laborer named Pablo has been using her Social Security number. And while Margaret pays for credit monitoring, she says the Equifax Credit Reporting Bureau never noticed the problem until she told them. Now Equifax has put a fraud alert on her account. And then there's this. Last month, the Bank of America sent her a new debit card bearing her name and Pablo's picture.
Somehow that just doesn't look like you.
No, not a very good likeness at all.
Margaret says the Bank of America claims it can't take any action against Pablo because he pays his bills on time. That her case is in what they call a reactive state.
A reactive state because currently it's not negatively impacting my credit, so I have no legal recourse for any action.
It just kind of feels like, we're not in charge of our own destiny with our credit.
Bank of America declined our request for an interview about this story. A spokesperson said Margaret's case is, quote, under investigation. Now, Margaret has turned to the Identity Theft Resource Center for help. They say her case is not all that unusual.
We've seen estimates that up to 20% of the Social Security numbers out there have some problem one way or another.
Which means that millions of Americans could face the same kind of hassles the Harrisons are going through right now. George Lewis, NBC News, San Diego.
The kind of theft Margaret Harrison experienced, Social Security theft, is undetectable until something happens, as it did to her. But there are ways to protect the rest of your digital identity. And for some important tips, log on to our website, nightly.msnbc.com.